You're listening to the Confidence Coach Podcast, episode 64. Why are you hiding? All right, guys, I want to ask you a question. Why are you hiding? What are you so afraid of? A lot of us are badasses, let's say. A lot of us are tough guys. A lot of us have this wall up. You know, our defense is on high and we're not letting anybody in. You know, we've been hurt in the past, or we've had to be strong for our families because of certain situations where we just took things on. You know, like when shit needs done, you find a way to make it happen. And you're that person that is always, always, always taking care of everybody else. You're that person that when somebody says, hey, how are things going? You're like, great, great, great. And on the inside, you're like, man, I really wish somebody would just take care of me. But I can't let them see that I'm weak. I can't let them see that I'm vulnerable. I can't let anybody see that I need somebody, right? And I feel like that's where this inner rebel, this inner badass gets a bad reputation, because you guys, it's easy to be the person that everybody goes to, right? Like we naturally want to help others, but we naturally don't want to help ourselves, because we feel like when we put ourselves at this leadership role or in charge, or you just get shit done, you feel like you can't let that guard down and ask for help, because otherwise you're exposed. And what will people think if you, of all people, need help like that? The world must really be falling apart. And so I want to ask you, Is it really being tough guy if you're not even willing to be exposed or be vulnerable? Like, it's so easy to get angry. It's so easy to be tough. It's so easy to hustle and grind and push. It is not easy to talk about feelings. It is not easy to make time for yourself. It is not easy to let people in. It is not easy. It is not easy. And you're that person that is full of a million other people's deep, dark secrets that you will never tell a soul, because that's who you are. People come to you because you are naturally trustworthy. But you have a million of your own secrets, and nobody knows them. You're even scared to journal about them because you're terrified that, what if somebody reads this journal? I'm screwed. People will really know who I am. And so what are you hiding? Why are you hiding? What secrets are deep, dark inside you, or feelings, or thoughts, or dreams, or goals that need to come to fruition? Like, what can you do today to start tapping into who that person is supposed to be, that person that you're called to become? And it's not easy, guys. Like, that's real courage. When you're willing to dive that deep and talk about the shit that nobody else wants to talk about, that's real vulnerability. And one of the reasons I wanted to bring this up is because the other day I was talking to somebody and I got really triggered. And I don't get super triggered easily anymore. Before I started this, personal development journey, it's actually, I think I've been on this now for about 5 years. I take that back. I don't even know how long. I started and then I stopped and then I started and then I stopped. Neither here nor there. Nobody's perfect, right? I know I'm not, but I've been consistently practicing personal development, I would say, for 3 to 5 years. We'll ballpark it. But somebody said to me the other day, oh, I love when people are being vulnerable on social media. And I'm like, oh, well, what did they what did they say? What did they post? And a lot of times it's just like, oh, well, I just know that so-and-so has cellulite too, or I know that so-and-so has acne too. And while, yes, that is vulnerable to post those things, especially if you're, on the highlight reel of social media where people expect you to, quote, be perfect. Like, I can understand where that would be a stepping stone of vulnerability, but like, that's so superficial, guys. That is so superficial. We all get zits, and I'm pretty sure every human on this planet has cellulite. And while, yes, I do still think that we need to talk about that, the vulnerability that I'm talking about is the shit that you're hiding from the world. Like, you're afraid to step into that true power that you hold because you're either scared of success, or you're scared of failure, or you're scared of judgment. For whatever reason, you're terrified to step into that powerful self that you can become. Or maybe you're scared that you don't know how to keep it all together. I know that was me. A few years ago, like, I knew I was this powerful human being. Like, I've always known it. And sometimes I come off intimidating. Hell, I just had a few run-ins this week where people are like, holy shit, you intimidate me. And I asked them, I said, why? Most of the time I just kind of laugh it off and be like, haha, whatever. But now I'm always curious, like, why do I intimidate people? Why do you find that I'm intimidating? And a lot of times it's because people say, you just speak your truth. You've owned your power, and it intimidates me. And I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I said, I just couldn't believe that people still find me intimidating, and I have to just take a step back. And I asked her, and I said, what do you think this means? And she said that it's intimidating because I can see through people's BS, and I can see people's true power, and I almost expect them to rise to the situation, and that can be intimidating. Like, when you and I would have a conversation, let's say, I would expect you to show up as 100% authentic you. Like, there's no bullshitting me. And I think that's what I value with vulnerability, right? Like, people's ability to just like rip off the mask and be themselves. That is true courage to me. That is real vulnerability. I could give two shits less if you have a black eye or a fat lip or a zit, or you're having whatever pity party. I want to know the deeper meaning, why you're so obsessed with this acne on your face. Why do you feel like you can't really be yourself? I think it's so funny because a lot of times us badasses, or us rebels, or us people who get shit done and take care of everybody else, we wear two hats, and we're always a different person behind closed doors with the right crowd. And what I mean is, we have our guard up. We have our guard up 99% of the time. And there's something magical about letting your guard down with the right people. And now, when I say be vulnerable with the right people, what I mean is people who are able to hold space for you. Not everybody can hold space for a powerful woman. They can't. Sometimes people just like lose their shit, and they are like, I have to tell the world that so-and-so is a real person. And then that's not the right kind of space that you want being held for you, right? You want to be in a group or on a one-on-one with somebody who's been there, done that, who is just as powerful as you, is a leader just like you, so that you can equally hold space for one another without fear of judgment, right? Because nobody who's been where you want to go or is going where you want to go is going to judge you. And that's just the honest truth. And I think a lot of times that's why we place these outward expectations on people who are unable to support us. And I'm going to say our parents, because that is the conversation that I have most with people, myself included. And it took me a very long time to realize that while my parents can support me as a human, they can't necessarily support me as my highest self, right? Because a lot of times that's a trigger for our parents. Your parents had hopes and dreams just like you did. And a lot of times, sometimes they got there, sometimes they didn't. But a lot of times we are fulfilling our own dreams triggers our parents because they were unable to do that. And it's not their fault. It's not their fault at all. It's what they were taught by their grandparents, right? When you know better, you do better. But if you don't know, how can you be upset with somebody? How can you be upset with somebody that does not know how to support you? And think of how much pressure you're putting on your parents or whoever it is that you want to support you, and they can't. They just can't. Put yourself in those shoes. Let's say me and you are sitting here having a conversation and I'm like, hey, Susie Q, I want you to support me. I want you to be this coach from wherever, and I need you to know all the things all at once. Tell me what I need to do right now. Tell me all the things that I've done bad. Tell me all the things that I've done good, and be there. Support me. And you're going to be like, holy shit, that's a whole lot of pressure. Or however it looks, right? But when you put that much pressure on somebody, what do you think's going to happen? They can feel it. They can energetically feel you placing that pressure on them. So how can you relieve that pressure? Let go of the expectation of what these people, quote, I'm going to do air quotes here, are supposed to be for you, and start finding people who can really support you. Outsource that support if you have to. Some of you are very fortunate and have amazing relationships with your parents, and I am still envious. While I'm very happy and excited for you, I'm also envious. And I think it's just because I don't know if I'll ever have that. I don't know. And what you don't have is always what you want. Always. People who have straight hair want curly hair. People who have curly hair want straight hair. Or you get the few lucky people like me where I can blow dry it straight or I can crunch it into a curl. Like, it's just, you get the kind of the split people. But what I'm saying is we always want what we don't have. And so while my parents have been supportive to a point, I don't know if necessarily they are able to support me much further in the role that I want them to be in. So I am very selective with the information that I share, right? Like if I wanted a business coach, I wouldn't go to somebody who just graduated high school and been like, hey, I need you to be my business coach. Like, they just have no idea what you're talking about, right? It's back to the school thing. Like, you would never ask a first grader to take a sophomore test. They just don't know how to do it, and that's okay. So how can you love these people in your life where they're at? How can you relieve that pressure and just let them know that you love and care about them, who they are as a person right here, right now, without all the expectations, without all of the pressure? And how can you start to find those people who can hold space for you in order for you to let that guard down, right? Because you too have a lot of pressure build up. I see you carrying it all. I see you trying to do it all. I see you hashtag hustle, hustle, hustle. Hustling is easy, guys. Hustling is fucking easy. I know, because that is my go-to. Anytime things get, quote, hard or uncomfortable, I'm like, oh, I gotta go work. Hustle, hustle, hustle. Make that money. And the hard part for me is talking about joy. The hard part for me is being present. The hard part for me is trying to be a mom. How do I be a mom? How do I be a good mom? That's terrifying to me. And every day I feel like I'm screwing it up. Do I tell people that all the time? No. Not everybody can hold space for me on that level, but there is certain people that I let my guard down and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't. I read all the books. I ask for all the help. And at the end of the day, I just go with my gut. And that's how I parent. And I guarantee you that's how your parents parent, and that's how their parents parented. And you just keep moving forward. Trial and error. Self-awareness. Emotional intelligence. All of these things will help you, right? And when you start to feel in control of your life, of your situation, things around you will start to feel in control too. And I know this because this is a common thing. Like, I just feel out of control. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know who to talk to. I don't know where to start. All of these questions. I don't know. That's a conditioned response because you've shut your brain down and your gut down for so long that your intuition is just silent. Like, it's like, oh, you want to activate me again? Well, I'm not really sure what to do. So you really need to start to tune into that. What is your gut telling you? What is your gut telling you? What is your gut telling you? I tell this to my clients all the time. They're like, hey, should I do this? I'm like, what do you think you should do? I always come back with another question. What do you think you should do? I hate pointing the finger and just saying, you need to do this or you need to do that. Like, I'll give, actual tips and suggestions and action steps and things like that. But I like to make people think for themselves. Because really, at the end of the day, it's all you. It's all you. Like, I won't be here to always hold your hand. Not everybody's always going to be there, hold your hand. So at the end of the day, who are you? What are you hiding? What are you so afraid of? And it's okay to be scared. Fear lets you know that you're still alive. Believe it or not, fear lets you know that you are still alive. And when you start to lose that fear, I feel like you lose hope too. And when you lose hope, that's when we're like, what's the fucking point? And that's not a good place to be in, right? So I know how hard it is to be who you are today. I know how hard it is and how much weight you have on your shoulders right now. I know it. You are the tough guy. You are the badass. You are the people. You are the person that people look up to. And that is a whole hell of a lot of pressure. It is. I know it. Every day I'm like, holy fuck, there's a lot of people depending on me. Don't fuck up, Sausha. Don't fuck up. But then I have to sit back and say, you know what? I'm only human. I'm only human. And I'm done hiding. I'm done letting fear run my life. I see it. I hear it. I feel it every fucking day. Every day. But I don't let it stop me. It's more of like a partner in crime now. I'm like, hey, you coming along for the ride? Let's do this. Hold my beer. Just kidding. I'm not drinking right now. Anyways, so why are you hiding? And another thing I want to leave you with is, when are you going to start keeping the promises that you keep to everybody else? When are you going to start keeping promises to yourself? You're this person that if I said, hey, I need you to be here at this time, this place, you would say, heck yes, I'm going to be there on time, bells and whistles, right? If I told you to do the same thing if I told you to do the same thing for yourself, would you follow through? Could you do it? I know I didn't used to. I would always break promises to myself and find space for somebody else to help or something else to do, or more laundry, more dishes, more work, more hustle. I never kept promises to myself, and that shows a low self-worth, right? I didn't value myself enough to keep promises. I thought that I needed to keep promises to everybody else because that's what made me the person that I am, right? Because I was always giving everybody else, and I was never giving to myself. And that's when that anger and that frustration and that depletion starts to set in, right? Because my cup is never full. I never allowed myself to fill my cup. Who am I to fill my cup first? But let me tell you this. If I've learned one thing from my mentors, it is that when you start to fill your cup so full, it will naturally overflow into others. And it is a total mindset shift. It really is. It is freaking hard to put yourself on the schedule and stick to it. It is. I get it. But that is real That's really being tough. That's really being courageous. That's really being brave, right? It's not easy to take care of ourselves. And so when you step out of the box, step out of the mold, step out of this cultural norm that society says that we have to just be giving, right? When you break that, that's what you teach everybody else around you, to start taking care of themselves. Think how much happier this planet would be, this earth would be, if everybody just took a few minutes a day to focus inward and ask themselves, what do I need today? How can I feel better? How can I energetically go through this day feeling alive, confident, courageous, strong, vibrant, happy, whatever the words are, right? What if? God, this would be a happy place, don't you think? And just to be able to teach our children that, think how happy their kids are going to be. All of the things that we teach our kids, and then all the things that they're going to learn. Like this is generational, you guys. Like we're sitting here, we're breaking patterns. We're breaking habits. We're breaking the mold. We're doing it. It's happening right now. So go ahead and pat yourself on the back. Give yourself a big hug. Look yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. You are fucking badass. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I love talking about the vulnerable stuff now. I never used to. You tell me about feelings, I'd clam up and I'd act like I was going to throw up all over the place. It was physically painful to talk about emotions. And now I have a sense of freedom, emotional freedom, right? I don't constantly feel like I'm a volcano ready to erupt. I don't feel like I'm batshit crazy. I don't feel like everybody's walking around on eggshells, because they really were. It was, when is Sausha going to explode? When is she going to explode? She's a ticking time bomb. I was, man. I was, and it was no bueno for anybody. And so when you start to deal with your shit, the real heavy shit, you start to feel lighter. You start to let go of all of that pressure. And that's when you start to feel, start to experience a feeling of lightness, of energy, natural energy. That's when you start to feel that freedom you so crave, because that weight on your shoulders gets heavy. And I can't wait for you just to drop it and stand tall and be that powerful human being that you were called to be. All right. I'll catch you on the flip side.